Hi Wayne. First of all, I want to say thank you for your video response, and I think it's great that not only are you aware of yourself, you're aware of your mannerisms and your demeanour, but you're able to tell another. You're able to share that with another, and not only that, but to share it over YouTube. So that says a lot to me, and tells me that you're going to continue to grow with this, because the first step with anything that you want to change is being able to be aware of it, to be honest with yourself, and being able to share that with another as well helps you to own it, because you can't change what you don't own. So first of all, I wanted to commend you for that. And there's something that I found quite relaxing about how you just talk about what's going on for you, and because it's coming from your heart, it kept me engaged in your video, even for 17 minutes. So when we talk from the heart, it keeps people engaged. I can imagine you maybe not as open in a group of people, maybe people you don't know so much, but you know, that's kind of natural for us not to be open like that around people that we don't know so much. So anyway, I made some notes, some points that I wanted to put across to you. I've just got up in the spirit of doing things when you've got the motivation to do something. Just wanted to get the camera out and shoot this. So yeah, the nervous laugh. I've noticed myself when I'm talking to people, I smile a lot, like a real wide smile, and I'm smiling at things that they say, even when I don't find it all that amusing. And it's a social conditioning thing, because when you smile at somebody, it conveys a message of approval. So when we smile at someone, the smile says to them, yes, I approve of you. And we're conditioned to behave this way for the sake of pleasing other people, basically. Now, there's nothing wrong in being polite and cordial, but when it's not really how we feel, there can be a little bit of a kind of a disconnect within ourselves. And I notice this disconnect within myself, and I start to become more aware of it, and I think, why am I smiling this wide? And it's a case of temperament and being able to just keep myself calm. And while I'm doing that, I'm still connecting in heart and mind to the other person, but I'm very calm, and it allows me to be even more connected. And they're talking, and I'll give them eye contact, and I'm taking in what they're saying, and I'm more focused on taking in what they're saying than I am about appearing to be what I think I should be and what I think is expected of me. So, and I do this in my coaching as well. I'm more committed to making a connection with people than I am of being liked. I forget about being liked. I forget about appearing to be a great coach or the coach that I imagine they expect. I forget about that. Well, it may still be there may be thoughts about that, but I'm more committed to making that connection, to making that authentic connection. So yeah, I relate to you with that, with the nervous laugh, because I used to have a bit of a nervous laugh. I think it's something that, to different degrees, a lot of us have experienced, you know, the wide smile when we don't really feel like smiling, but we do it anyway. So, and I've come across workshops on the internet and stuff. One of them from a group of guys who've set up a program called AMP, AMP, and that stands for the Authentic Man Program. The Authentic Man Program. Now, I'm actually an affiliate to this program because I've done the program myself, and I got a lot of benefit from it, a lot of interesting ideas. One of the things that they talk about is learning to become more comfortable with being authentic, and when we're talking with people, learning to say what we really feel. Like, after being on a date with someone, you might say, oh yeah, I'll call you. Or even in general relationships, say, oh yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. Now, we may have no intention of calling them tomorrow, but we say it because we want to please them, or maybe not even because we want to please them, we just feel it's the right thing to say, even though we don't feel that way. They may say, oh, I really like this, and we might not really like it, but we kind of like don't say how we feel about it. So, and there are ways to be authentic without being obnoxious. You know, you don't have to be obnoxious. It's just honouring yourself and saying, and if it's like kind of like an altercation, it could be an argument, or the situation could be quite heated, you can still be strong in yourself and say, look, with all the respect in the world, and you can respect everyone else at the same time as speaking your truth, with all the respect in the world, this is what's true for me. And that's okay. And they have to respect that. They have to respect what is true for you. Now, they may not, but that's their problem, that's their issue. So, now, the nervous laughter, it does get easier. I don't know if you saw the videos I did where I'm doing a video walking around the streets outside here. Yeah, it felt awkward at first, but eventually you get comfortable with it. I'm making a video now and there are other people in the house. I used to find that quite a challenge a year ago. When I wanted to make a video, I didn't want anyone else to hear me, and I'd play music in the background so that no one could hear me. But the more I started to do it, the more I just became okay with it, and they're doing their own thing out there and they're not really interested in what I'm saying. So it does get easier. So yeah, so The mind is very resourceful. We create ways, quite ingenious ways, of keeping ourselves safe. So there is a part of the brain, and it's designed to keep the organism safe. It's designed to make sure the organism, you, the physical body, it's designed to make sure that you survive the environment. And it sees other people in the environment as potential predators. I think it's part of the reptilian brain. So it's very resourceful, comes up with ways of keeping us safe, and I'm suspecting that all the thoughts going in, and there's loads of thoughts, you don't know what to say, what to reply with, I'm suspecting it's around a fear of not being accepted, a fear of, will this person hold me in high esteem if I say this? You might not even know what you want to say, but it's a case of, yeah, I need to make sure I don't offend anyone, so I must say the right thing, or they might not hold me in high esteem. Now, you may not be consciously aware of that. This is just the hunch that I have, why the mind has resourcefully created this program that runs where all the thoughts are going around. You don't know which one to pick. Now, I say created because that's the angle that I come at with self-help. It's how I've been taught that everything is a creation that we've created, so we're not victims. And when we know that we're creating it, then we have the power to own it and the power to change it. Because if I'm creating it, then I know I can create something different. So I think that's where the mind's coming from with this. It's a case of I mustn't offend anyone. I mustn't be who I really am because people may not accept who I really am. I've been reading this book. Someone recommended it to me on YouTube. It's called Radical Honesty. And it's written by a psychotherapist. He swears and stuff in the book because he's radically honest. So anyway, he talks about how he basically says we should all go out there and tell everybody the truth about ourselves. And I won't explain the whole book, but I wanted to read to you part of the book. It's a part that stood out for me. I wanted to share it with you. He's talking about honesty and love, and he says, honesty, however, is a behaviour and is something I can choose or not choose. I cannot decide to love or trust, but I can decide to be personally honest or not. And when I choose to be really honest and say what I experience and what I feel, I am showing that I can be trusted. This is the only kind of behaviour that can bring about a response of trust. Trust is my own response to a person that I know I can believe. Even if I dislike the person, I can trust him if he is honest with me, and I can respect his willingness to be himself honestly. And that's one of the things that came across for me watching your video, is straight away I got a feeling I can trust this guy, because you can talk about yourself, you can talk about your thought processes and that, so I get that feeling from you. He goes on to say, likewise, honesty does not always bring a response of love, but it is absolutely essential to it. When I am honestly myself and you respond warmly and with caring, then love exists. If I calculate and put on phony behaviour in order to please you, you may love my behaviour, but you cannot love me, because I have hidden my real existence behind this artificial behaviour. Even when you love in response to my phony behaviour, I cannot really receive your love. It is poisoned by my knowledge that the love is for the image I have created. It's not for me. I also have to be continually on guard to be sure that I maintain my image so that your love does not disappear. Since I have shut myself off from your love in this way, I will feel more lonely and more unloved and try even more desperately to manipulate myself and you in order to get this love. In contrast, when I am honestly myself and you respond to me as I am in that moment, I can receive this fully and know the satisfaction of being really related with you. This honest relating is not always joyful or pleasant. It is sometimes sad, sometimes angry, etc. But it is always solid and real and vitally alive. Now, when I think about that last sentence that he said, vitally alive, we've become a little bit numb to the point where feeling vitally alive feels uncomfortable. And something that the Authentic Man program talk about when you're approaching someone you're attracted to, there is anxiety in the body, and this has been called approach anxiety. So you go to approach someone you're attracted to, there's anxiety there. Now, Authentic Man program call it approach excitement, because you're excited about the prospect of meeting this person that you're attracted to. There's so much excitement in the body, it's like electric, that it kind of short circuits the brain. You don't know what to say. It's all this excitement in the body, and this is something I've experienced, and I've learned to process that excitement through yoga, martial arts. The thing with yoga and martial arts is it's all about being in the body and feeling the sensations of the body. And I learned to approach that girl in the gym that I really want to speak to. I'd learned to approach her whilst feeling these intense feelings and learning to enjoy those feelings. And yeah, you feel kind of exhilarated, and when you're okay with that feeling, then she's okay with it. And so those are some of the experiences that I've had with embracing the feelings, what was I going to say? I looked at the clock, I noticed the video was getting really long, and then I thought, okay. So yeah, embracing the feelings. It's counterintuitive to embrace the feelings. Now, a lot of ancient wisdom and the self-help material that I come across, a lot of it is counterintuitive. It's intuitive for us to avoid it, go away, stay in the comfort zone. It's counterintuitive to seek out the fear, to seek out that uncomfortable situation. But it's the seeking it out that allows you to transcend it. It's like Aikido. Aikido is a martial arts, and in Aikido you use the energy that the person is exerting on you, you use that energy against them. So when they come at you and they're pushing you, rather than you resisting, you go with it. So when they go to push you, you go with it and come back, and then you can push them over you rather than trying to resist it. So it's kind of going in the other direction. You kind of push it in other people's faces. What do I mean by that? This video is going to be really long. I help guys with something called pareresis. Pareresis is when you're uncomfortable with urinating next to other guys at the urinal in the restroom. Something I used to suffer from, and I've overcome it, and I help other guys. I've got another YouTube channel. It's called The Freedom to Change. So one of the things that you do when you're afraid of peeing next to another guy is you'll go into a cubicle instead. You know, into a stall. Now, if you stood in the stall, you're trying to go, but nothing happens. To cover your tracks, you'll flush, so it appears to everybody else outside that you were successful. Yes, I did it. I flushed. Now, what I started to do was, I'd be in the cubicle, there'd be other guys in the locker room, very quiet, it was a small locker room, and if nothing would happen, rather than flushing to cover my tracks, I wouldn't flush, and I'd just come straight back out. So instead of it being, oh, I've got this shy bladder, no one must know about it, no one must find out about it, I was putting it in people's faces. It's as though I was saying, yes, I was in there, and you didn't hear anything. I didn't flush. Yeah, that just happened. So the ego thinks that that kind of attitude can't be successful. The ego says, flush, you got to cover your tracks, because the ego wants to keep you safe. So it's developing that relationship with the ego where you almost strike a bargain with the ego and you say, look, you've got to trust me on this. Trust me on this one. Give me that little 10% and let me show you that this can work. That this new approach can work. Let me show you that by facing our fears, we're actually going to overcome this. Come along with me and we can enjoy this ride together. So I've got a lot of other techniques on this. So anyway, I'll leave it there. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much on a video. So as you can tell, this subject is something I'm really passionate about. I can talk all day about this. So I hope you got something from the video. The other question I had was, what I'm curious about is if fear and anxiety wasn't a challenge, if it wasn't such a challenge for you right now, what would you be doing in your life? I know you'd be taking action on that drive to play out a melody. I know you'd be taking action on that, even if there are other people in the house. One thing you can try with the radical honesty is to tell the other people in the house, hey, I get the feeling to play out a melody, but I stop myself because I don't want other people to hear me. And see what they say. Should help you to be more relaxed about it. So I'm going to leave it there, Wayne. Thanks for sharing. I found it really interesting. I can tell you're an interesting guy, because you have that awareness, that self-awareness. So I have every confidence that you're going to continue to grow with this and be able to help other people that have been through the same thing. So I'm going to leave it there, Wayne. Peace. Catch you later.